What did your parents say to you as a kid that still affects you today? My mom used to tell me I was born lucky because I came into this world during a total solar eclipse. She said it meant I had special protection and nothing bad would ever happen to me. Whenever I got hurt or sick, she'd remind me about my eclipse blessing and say the universe was just testing me. When I broke my arm at 8, she said, "See, it could have been so much worse. The eclipse protected you from breaking your neck." I grew up genuinely believing I was invincible. I took crazy risks, climbing the tallest trees in our neighborhood, swimming way too far out at the lake, never wearing a helmet when skateboarding. My friends thought I was this fearless daredevil, but really I just believed what my mom told me about being cosmically protected. She had this whole elaborate story about how solar eclipses only happen every few decades, and babies born during them are chosen by the universe. She'd show me this newspaper clipping she kept in a frame, a photo of the eclipse with the headline, "Rare solar event captivates millions." She told me she went into labor right when the moon covered the sun. "That's when you decided to come into this world," she'd say, right at the moment of perfect cosmic alignment. My dad would just roll his eyes whenever she brought it up, but he never contradicted her. I thought he was just jealous that I wasn't the special one. Throughout my childhood, whenever bad things happened to other people, my mom would remind me how lucky I was. When my classmate got hit by a car, she said, "See, that could never happen to you." When my cousin got really sick with leukemia, she'd whisper, "Good thing you have your protection." I started feeling guilty about my supposed luck, but also incredibly confident. I'd volunteer for dangerous school trips, try out for contact sports like football and wrestling, basically live like I had plot armor in real life. Other parents thought I was reckless, but my mom would just smile and say, "He's protected." The eclipse story became part of my identity. I'd tell people about it at parties, use it as an icebreaker, even put it in college application essays. Born under a solar eclipse sounded way cooler than just being a regular Tuesday baby. When I was 16, my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave her 6 months, maybe less. I kept telling her she'd be fine because our family was protected by my eclipse birth. She just smiled sadly and nodded, but I could see doubt in her eyes for the first time. "Maybe the protection only works for you, sweetheart," she said quietly one day during chemo, her voice barely a whisper. She died exactly 6 months later, on a rainy Thursday morning. I was devastated, but also confused. How could someone so close to me die if I was supposed to be cosmically protected? Maybe the universe had limits. Maybe my protection didn't extend to the people I loved. At the funeral, my Aunt Linda pulled me aside after the service and said something that completely shattered my world. "Your mom didn't have you during an eclipse, honey. You were born during a regular thunderstorm at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday in March. There wasn't any cosmic event at all." I stared at her, not understanding. "What do you mean?" She showed me the newspaper clipping. I've seen it hundreds of times. My aunt looked confused, like she didn't know what I was talking about. "What newspaper clipping?" When I described it in detail, the dramatic photo of the eclipse, the headline about the rare solar event, she shook her head slowly. "Sweetie, that eclipse happened 3 months before you were born. I remember because your mom was so pregnant she couldn't go outside to see it properly. She made up that whole story because you were such an anxious, scared little kid. You wouldn't even sleep without checking under your bed twice, wouldn't try new foods, wouldn't play with other kids. She thought if you believed you were protected, you'd actually live your life instead of hiding from it." I went home that night and looked at that framed newspaper clipping with completely new eyes. The date was clear as day, 3 months before my birthday. How had I never actually read the date? How had I lived my entire life without noticing something so obvious? My mom had spent 16 years carefully constructing an elaborate lie just so I wouldn't be afraid of everything, and it worked perfectly. The weirdest part, even knowing it was all fake, I still feel protected sometimes, like maybe believing in something hard enough can make it a little bit real. Maybe that's what she wanted all along.